This is Peter from MNN. And judging by the fact that we usually don't get upward of maybe 3 or 4 people waiting for our chats, I would imagine that some of you guys are excited or anticipating what exactly I will say about NEKI. And they're one of those bands, and it's one of those names where you're like, what exactly am I saying? What am I looking at? Is it Nick? Which I think is what I originally pronounced it as, but it is NEKI with that upside down exclamation. But then いい肌はいい顔を作るエミナルクリニック but it is NEKI with that upside down exclamation. But then いい肌はいい顔を作るエミナルクリニック but it is NEKI with that upside down exclamation. But then いい肌はいい顔を作るエミナルクリニック Hold on, guys. But it is NEKI. Did that stop it completely? Okay, I need some answers. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? Is the audio and video okay right now? So the quicker you answer, the sooner I know whether to... What's up? It's okay right now. Great. God. I don't know why this happens. All right, guys, what's going on? That was weird. It's happened a few times. Yes. So it is August 27th, Tuesday, 11 p.m. And thanks, what's going on? I'm going to get into everything. And instead of sort of meandering through all this, I'm going to go straight into this as a concert review for NEKI. I think there are a lot of people who are very interested, who are very excited about this band. I've often seen them touted as the next bandmate, or could they be the next bandmate? And when I heard their music and saw their videos, I couldn't quite see that. And going to their live show today, I still don't see that. And I know that people kind of are trying to put them together and kind of mash them up for some reason. But in terms of style, musically, just composition-wise, I just don't see the connection, to be honest. I feel like sometimes it's just the fact that there are bandmate fans who just really happen to like NEKI fans, and so they kind of combine them and put the two together. But that's something that I don't see. I think that's definitely sort of like a bit separate. So what I will say is that NEKI is much closer musically, just sonically, to bands like Scandal, maybe Silent Siren, possibly, you know, like hints of Gotaric Spin, and really only because of Kanade and her bass with their slapping. So those are really the only things, yeah, like vocally different. Yeah, exactly. And they're Japanese. Vocally different, stylistically different. I don't know. Well, let's break it down. Let's break it down. So today, I actually wasn't sure if I was gonna go to see them play, just because my foot, and I thought maybe I should rest. There was also a Gangire show going on at the venue that I was at actually on Saturday, Ueno Otoyokoto. But I decided I'll just rest. But I had kept on seeing on Twitter like they would be playing at Shimokitazawa, Shimokitazawa ReG, REG, which is actually a 10-minute bike ride from my place. And so I decided to go and check them out. And it was pretty last minute. I took my camera just in case I thought I could get some photos. But I got there, I asked, they have staff. There's one girl on staff who takes care of, oh, thank you very much, who takes care of the the merch and then was doing photography or doing photos for them with like a little digital camera. So I really thought I could be able to, but I think at this point they're at a level that um, you can't just kind of walk in. What's going on, Peter? You can't sort of walk in and do what I usually do with other indie bands. It does seem as though they are under management. They have a manager, they have staff, and like their YouTube channel is up to I think 15,000 subscribers. So because of that, um, there are certain not barriers, maybe barriers, red tape that there wouldn't be with other bands that I would normally interact with. So, anyway, with that said, I did bring my camera, asked, they said no. I said, that's fine. You don't want to push. And then I said, oh, hi, I do have a YouTube channel. I would love to do an interview with you. I do try to promote Japanese bands to overseas fans. And then I was referred to another gentleman who I believe it seems as though he's their manager. He also seems pretty young, maybe just an older friend. I don't know what it is exactly, but um, I asked him, and then he said you can talk to the girls when they come out for buppan, which is merch. That's another little Japanese lesson. Buppan. Buppan is when there's the goods or the merch. That's when it's on sale and it's available. So I had to wait for that, and I did. And it's funny because as it is the case with most small live houses, and it wasn't only NEKI, they were part of this really massive sort of festival with a lot younger bands. And being that it's only a Tuesday and that it's been going on all day, I should have realized that this is really geared more towards new bands and geared towards college students. Because Shimokitazawa, it's a really hip place, but it's for younger people. Although you will find a lot of older gentlemen typically, especially if they're going to these music venues to listen. And that happened to be the case today too. So Shimokitazawa ReG, it's a pretty small venue. I mean, what, 150, 200 tops? Basically, it's a box once you walk downstairs. And I walked in, and there was another band playing. I don't remember the name, but tons of kids. I mean, like, not little kids, but compared to a lot of people who are subscribers to MNN or viewers. And if you're not a subscriber, why are you not a subscriber? If you're watching this, are you subscribed? Subscribe. But yeah, I would say college students, possibly even high school students, just on summer break. And so it was actually fairly packed for this band that was playing. And I kind of walked in and decided I saw a little corner, a little area that was pretty open against the wall on the other side. So I just kind of squeezed my ways through, was up against the wall, and it was actually right next to the NEKI table, which worked out pretty well. And as I was watching this other band that was playing, it was like, okay, they are young. They are definitely like college age. They're playing their sound, their performance. It's young, it's nervous, it's a little bit stiff, but it's still good. These are still very talented kids who are playing. And so they finished their set, and then, people walked out, which happens to be the case because there's anywhere usually from 10 to 15 to 20 minutes for setting up the next band. And then NEKI comes up, and what was funny was even when it was the previous band, I mean, there's a lot of kids, but there was a group of elderly gentlemen, definitely definitely over college age, and they were kind of lined up closer towards the front. Some had were pretty gray hair, silver maned, and I thought, I bet those are NEKI fans. I just kind of vibed that, but I bet those are NEKI fans. And of course, it turned out to be true. The same way I can pretty much sniff out Koreans who are in Japan. I can just tell by how they look. So once the other band went down, NEKI's setting up, you see all the older folks move up to the front. And even then, I mean, there was probably maybe only 15 to 20 tops. No, I'm going to say 15 tops who moved up to the front. And then there was this huge gap. It was just like it must have been a good 2 rows, a row and a half, and then like just college students, younger students or younger kids in the back. Oh, hey, later, man, later, banana. So in the back, they're just kind of standing there, and so there was a marked difference between the fans of NEKI, who were like legitimate fans, and people who had come from overseas. A couple of them, uh, Real from Singapore, which I think some of you know if you're on Bandmate Discord. I think that's what he does. And then Steven, who's also has kind of been around the circuit a little bit recently. But so that was that, and that was very interesting because you realize generally when there are more popular bands with overseas fans, those older overseas fans tend to be older and male, typically, and that's what it was. So it's a good sign. It's a good sign that there were older folks there, including myself. Um, so yeah. Now, as far as Neki, the band itself, as I said, sonically, I don't understand the comparison, aside from the fact that Neki has done covers. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Especially if you're retired, you have time and money, or maybe you're young, you have money. At least you were young and poor. I'm old and poor, so that's anyway. So it was for this festival called Soundshock Tokyo 2024. These are the names of the venues in Shimokitazawa. So the one that I went to is ReG. Unfortunately, when I tried walking in right away, they said that I had to go get my ticket at Mosaic, which was a 1 minute bike ride up. So I got my ticket. And as far as the band, yeah, I mean, they're a good band. They're a solid band. They're young though. Performance-wise, you can tell they're young. Performance-wise, they're still green, but with with the greenness, I will say that they're very competent musicians and they're definitely talented for sure. Um, let's start with Kokoro. Kokoro, the drummer. She was wearing her typical jersey. I think it's Dallas, blue Dallas jersey from what I've seen from her videos, and she's kind of got guns. Like as she was playing, I was like, oh, she's not like thin armed. Like you could tell she's got some muscle on her. And what I really enjoyed about Kokoro's playing is that I think stylistically, musically, it doesn't ask for anything too heavy. It's still restrained. It's not hard rock the way I would say Bandmate is. It's much more pop rock. Again, like I said, it hews much more closer to Scandal, Silent Siren, any of those other bands. Melodically, it's much more J-pop. Vocally, it's brighter, it's lighter, it's poppier. So Kokoro doesn't necessarily have to do that much, but I would say that she has the potential or the ability to go harder and heavier. I definitely think that she um, can do a lot. It sounded that way, but very tight, very competent. And there was one little problem going on. So if I'm not mistaken, from what I heard, Hika, the lead singer, was saying that, oh, this is like the first time this has ever happened to us. So they had to kind of riff a little bit while they were waiting. But she's a very competent, very tight player. Nothing too technical though, nothing too fancy. Again, because it stays within pop rock. Going to what is it? Natsune, the guitarist. She's very cute, very happy. I noticed from the videos that it doesn't quite portray how bright and happy she can be. She was very enthused by the crowd, and she was playing a she was playing a black Washburn with an active pickup. But what was funny was that I think that's hers from a video that I saw. I believe that's hers. But the previous band, their guitarist used the same guitar. So either they have the same guitar or she lent hers to him. Um, Unfortunately, the mix, she was really low. So especially with the solos. You couldn't get enough, and that was unfortunate. But performance-wise, she's very happy and very cute. They're a very cute band. Guitar-wise, she does some really good stuff. Her sound, her tones, is pretty lean, but I did enjoy it. And listening to the songs on recording, like there is some good stuff, and she can definitely shred if she wants to. But again, it's a much more melodic band. Like they, yeah. Again, I don't understand the bandmate comparison really, except for those who are bandmate fans and they like NEKI, and they're trying to kind of force that a bit. With Hika, the lead singer, and then the rhythm guitarist, she's very competent as a rhythm guitarist. Everything she looked very comfortable playing. She did what she was doing very well. Vocally, again, like the songs themselves, they don't necessarily call for like sort of going off, and there's nothing that's too enthused or too like they're not the most passionate, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Um, but what she was doing, she did really well, and I enjoyed it. It was really cute. Um, yeah, I mean, hmm, they're a young band. They're a young band. Now, I will say the standout, and I think this is also notable in the fact that she has the most Twitter followers. One of the things that I kind of tend to do is sort of look at numbers. I'm not really a number guy, but you can just kind of look and see like where they're at and what's going on. And she has going on 6,000 subscribers, like 5,700 something or other. The other members are in the thousands, and she slaps that bass like a fish swims in the water. Um, Very bubbly, very bright, and just going at it, like just going to town with that thing. And I would say out of the instrumentalists, she is definitely the one. Oh, okay. I wouldn't be surprised. She's Kanade is definitely the one that I think is the standout musically, technically, performance-wise. She seems the most comfortable and just into it, just having fun on stage, which is great to see. Um, and so I do think that she has helped to propel, I think, the enthusiasm for the band. And I do think that a lot of people are drawn to her, even when it comes to comments and people really talking about NEKI. It does seem as though there's a lot of mention about the bass. And I think with good reason. Um, but overall, I would just say again that they're all very competent. They're all very competent musicians. They are young, and performance-wise, they are, again, it takes time, but they just started their Twitter at the beginning of the year. Um, and so they're really basically a 2024 band. So being close to 15 or being over 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, having their first video out with over 200,000 views, and then their next two singles with over 100,000 views right now. I mean, there's definitely a lot of momentum. And understandably, as I was listening, and really the comparison between the previous band, again, who wasn't bad, and then NEKI, the biggest difference is the fact that they had very strong songs and their arrangements were done very well. And I thought, man, this is very mature, it feels like, compared to this other band. Like this band, no, we're in the middle. You made it roughly on time. What's going on, Ryan? Um, I saw you briefly on Toronoko Rami's. I just was watching it because I was walking my dog. End of the live stream, Chester. He tends to walk in like when I'm walking out. It just wasn't meant to be, man. But so I was impressed. I was impressed by the maturity of the compositions, the songs, the way that it was done, the arrangements. And I mentioned that in a tweet. And so I actually looked up to see who were the composers, lyricists. And I'm going to give you a breakdown really quickly. So I'm looking at Tower Records off their CD. And let me just read this to you. So the first track is Maze. Oh, by the way, So I did get their CD, 1,500 yen for their EP, exclamation. And then they are still at a point, and again, as I mentioned, like at the venue, like the previous band had more people watching and more enthused. And maybe they were better known in those circles, or maybe friends, family, fans, whatever. But with NEKI, I do feel that they have been able to take advantage of, again, the overseas fans. And when that happens, like it exponentially gets bigger, which is what happens. But there's a disparity. And I don't think it's really felt or understood for people who are overseas. They assume that since the numbers are bigger on the videos, it's like, oh, okay, then they must be a bigger band, but not necessarily, at least not at this point. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is that they're still at a point where they came out, even though they did have staff and they did have a manager or someone there, they came out, they greeted, and they did actually sign everybody's t-shirts. So I bought a t-shirt from them as well to help support. And I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't want to go through it. So Kokoro is on the upper, let's see, it would be my upper right, and then the lower is base Kanade. And then on the upper left is Hika, and then on the lower is Natsune. So, yeah. So that was nice. And I am happy to support them. And I think, this is kind of what happened. The music that I've been listening to, wait, no, I'm not gonna, let's go back. Going back to the composers, to the songs, to the lyricists. I'm gonna break this down quickly so that you guys have some introduction idea of what this is. So Maze, the first track off of Exclamation, it was written by NEKI and somebody named Mugi. And then the lyrics were by NEKI and Mugi. The arrangements were by NEKI and somebody named Yuki Tanabe. And the arrangements for all the songs, for all the tracks, all 5, are NEKI and Yuki Tanabe. And I looked up Yuki Tanabe, and there happens to be a former drummer of a pretty famous band in Japan called Bradio. He left the band in 2018, but he also composes songs and he arranges songs. So potentially it's him, but I tried Googling both of them together. Yeah, I tried Googling both of them together, but I didn't see images or content that would make that connection yet. So it's possible, but yeah, so just keep that in mind. All the arrangements were done for the songs were by NEKI and Yuki Tanabe. The second song, Reigen Shoujo, or Reigen Girl, I think the English version. So the song was written by NEKI and Kawaguchi Tiger Yusuke. And then, those are the lyrics. Written by NEKI and Yuki Tanabe, arranged by NEKI Yuki Tanabe. Third track, Endless Game. This is lyrics, NEKI and Kumoe Haruka. Then you have composed and arranged by NEKI and Yuki Tanabe. Yeah, so Bradio has been around for a while. So I don't know if it's him, but I think it could be. The fourth track, Blink. Blink lyrics, NEKI, Kumoe Haruka, and then composition and arrangements by Yuki Tanabe. NEKI and Yuki Tanabe. And then last, Get Over, you have the lyrics by NEKI, written by NEKI and Mai Mai. But Mai Mai is Maimai, not Mymy. And then arranged by NEKI and Yuki Tanabe. So I think this definitely shows, I really wish, as somebody who used to write songs, produce and arrange like my own stuff, I'm very curious, like, even though you have, like, these names listed and with producers, like, how much percentage-wise, like, how much of an impact did it make? You know, like, that's what I'm curious about. Like, how much of Butch Vig was in there? Like, how much of Mutt Lang was in there? Um, just, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, how much of these producers, of these composers, of these arrangers are there in comparison, in ratio, in percentage to like the artists themselves? And not to take away from NEKI, and as a young band, I think it's great. That's what Bandmate did. And if anything, like they learned a lot. Like the formative years of Bandmate, with the first three albums, I mean, they learned so much. And then before you knew it, you know, like Konami just kind of took off. So that's definitely what I'm curious about. But having said that, regardless, the songs are really good songs. They're bright, they're poppy, there's some funk. There's some pretty good chord progressions. There's again, the arrangements. I'm really impressed by the arrangements, how they all sort of fitted together and just sonically overall the sound. So I definitely appreciate them a lot more live. And going back to what I was going to say earlier is I think because of the type of music I've been into, and especially going to see live these days, which is much heavier, um, I think it threw me off. And so going to see them live, I can definitely appreciate them much more as a band. Seeing them play, I will again, as I mentioned, kind of did the bassist is definitely sort of the highlight or the strongest member in terms of what she's allowed to do. Um, Kokoro is solid. She's competent, and I do think she has. You can tell there's more, and like she's got muscle. I think Hika as a front woman, I think she's got a good voice. It's cute, and it can veer towards can it veer towards too cutesy? I mean, it really depends, right? It's like your mileage may vary depending upon what you prefer. Um, but I would say it ranges in between like Silent Siren and Scandal in between there. So, but for me, like the live performance, I enjoyed it a lot more. And it was good. Yeah, it was good. I did like it, and I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but it was cool. It's allowing them more freedom to choose or something you're prepared to say about it. I don't know. I really don't know what they're allowed to do or how things are going. Um, so I did after the show. I went up, you know, I bought the CD and I got the shirt. And I did say, I had this whole spiel, which I usually do. I'm like, hey, my name is Peter. I have this YouTube channel. I like to promote Japanese bands. And I would love to do an interview with you. That'd be great. Like, you know, we have this channel. It's mainly for Bandmate. You know, I know they're Bandmate fans. And it was Hika, and the girls are like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. That'd be cool. But I wasn't sure that was like yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks so much. See you later. Keep on walking. Or if it was legitimate, like let me consider it. Because at least at that point there was no attempt to exchange contacts. So I'll reach out to them, see what happens. But they may be a bit too big um, at this point for me to get an interview with them, for their management to consider it being worthwhile. Because I think at this point, especially when you're a band and you're busy and you're moving and like, you know, there's all these wheels going on, you got to pick and choose your battles. You know, you have to kind of see. And unfortunately, even though MNN has grown thanks to, you know, you guys, um, over the past year and a half, going on 2 years, it's still not at a place and at a number where people go, oh, absolutely, totally. You know, for smaller bands, I think it's not an issue, but for bigger bands, and I think for bands that have management, it's something that they kind of consider. And let's see, let's hope so. But again, like I do try. If I do get to see a band and I like them and I think there's potential, No, no. The last thing I want is to have like a fake audience. I'm not into those AI audiences. And we won't get into any more of that, but yeah. So, but yeah, I will say it's a much, much cleaner and better comparison to say them and Scandal. Someone mentioned Girlfriend, and I think that's right. Musically, Um, the thing, changing our name. I mean, that's something that I'll talk about with SJ. It is, I mean, it's been on our mind ever since we've interviewed, like, ever since we started interviewing and I started going to these other bands. Like, it didn't make sense that in order to appease a small number of fans, that we would only just do band-made content. I'm here in Japan. I have the privilege, the blessing, the opportunity to see all these other bands and to promote all these other bands. But for me to say, oh no, but we're M and N, we're only maids, so that's it. Sorry. And then to dismiss that, it seemed kind of ridiculous. Um, but even with band maid, I mean, yeah, I mean, I have thought about it to simply answer your question. I have thought about it. I would like to do more and do something, but it's something that I will talk about with SJ and probably with Chester and Destiny, and then get back to you guys as far as what it may turn into or lead to. I don't quite exactly know at the moment, but considering that I am here and building a lot of connections. I mentioned previously I got to meet Mally, the drummer for Exist Trace. And then, I've gotten closer to Natsuo, the bassist for Bad Bubble. But then their guitarist is Gina, who also started recently another band, Mellows, along with Sally, who is another great Japanese guitarist who used to be in Lipstick, the band that Maya used to be in before she ended up leaving and going into Nemophila. So there's a lot of different stuff, but we have kept this, we have kept MNN, and it is kind of a brand at this point. So again, I have ideas, but I don't want this to turn into something completely generic because it's not. If you guys are aware and have been following the bands that I've been following and promoting, it's not every band out there. It isn't Japanese music news. So yeah, but yeah, Mellows is another band that I do plan on reaching out to. I have the potential to see them next week. I'd have to go after work and only see them for a 30-minute set. But I think since I do know Gina and we've talked a few times and she likes the photos I've taken of her with Bad Bubble, then I have the opportunity, I think, to snag an interview with them at some point. So, but yeah, I enjoyed today. I was only there for like an hour. Um, Thanks to our wonderful fan, Kurt, who's an awesome, awesome Hawaiian dude who helped me out. Koiai, I think that's how you pronounce it, Koiai. Their new song is pretty good. I liked it. Um, yeah, some good stuff. And then as far as Summer Whales, it was pretty cool, mellow, chill stuff. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. But there's so much stuff going on. And again, I am so far from being like a gallon container. Like I really have maybe only a pint in me. So I really have to pick and choose and kind of decide who comes first and next. So, but with NEKI being such like, I mean, they really skyrocketed. I think compared to a lot of other bands, and I think, I mean, maybe it's. I mean, I know fans are frustrated. I know one fan particularly who was frustrated by how much or how quickly NEKI kind of caught fire and got a lot of attention. But they're musically a lot more accessible. I mean, their music is much more pop. It's much more mainstream. It's a lot brighter. It's lighter. It's more fun. It's cuter. They're young. you know, all those factors like combined really, I think, are more compelling than a hard rock band. Like that is the day and age that we live in. Hard rock will never be a mainstream genre. I don't think we'll ever get back to that. Um, which is why, for those of us who do love for those of us that do love hard rock and metalcore and all these genres, I mean, we have to support our asses off, you know, and like gather our forces. It's something that I've been wanting to do and that I want to continue to do. It's just to build this base, which I think has happened. But yeah, as far as other bands, as far as other genres, I'm open to it, but it's not necessarily a priority. So yeah. So like I said, NEKI, cool band, young but very talented, great songs. I think great arrangements. Um, it's just kind of how it is for some people, especially when they want their horse to win the race. So yeah, 5 tracks. I would say if you do get a chance to see them live, which I will be seeing them next in November, right before the Zepp shows for Bandmade. And yeah, it's cool. I mean, I think they're talented. I do think they have a lot of potential, and I think if their management continues to just sort of guide them and gives them great songs to perform, and they do it well, and they just grow and really kind of like take root, then yeah, they'll be an awesome band. So that is that. Luckily, I am in Shimokitazawa. It is nice. Uh, tomorrow night, I will be seeing Jungfrau, and this is their CD. There's only a few songs, but I will be taking photos for them tomorrow, and it is their last live officially. And they will come back in resurrected form, reincarnated at some point in some other fashion. Oh, thanks, man. Not that I know of. Late November. Hey, what's going on, Steven? I don't think so. They do have a one man at the end of the year, December 29th. Um, I think I'm gonna leave it open. As much as it is nice to see this young up and coming band, and I do appreciate what they've done and what they're doing and the potential for what they have. There's a lot of other bands that I'm connected to that I'm much more deeply like in relationship with. So I like to keep it open. The previous week will end up being Mayo Fest, the drummer for Hades. Like she is just like she's just been in the industry. Tons of people that know her, love her, that she's played with, and so yeah, it's going to be a 2 day affair. I believe the 21st and the 22nd. It's going to be busy. So the following week, sounds good. The following week, the 29th, the 30th, we'll see. We'll see. Um, it's really tough because, you know, a lot of these bands, they don't really find out sometimes about certain events until much later on. And due to that fact, it's just like I'm trying to make my schedule, and I have about 20 plus shows listed like on my whiteboard. I'm gonna have to arrange it a little bit better and cleaner. Um, but yeah, I mean, do I even want to do that? Like, of course I do, but then I also have the work that needs to be done, besides just going to these shows. December, that'll be December. So 29th, 30th in December. The 29th is a one man for NEKI. There's also a one man at Shibuya Eggman on the 24th. Um, uh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean we all have our tone, right? Um, like I think that's why for me, Psyche definitely hits the sweet spot for me. She's sort of that alto. And I prefer it when she goes into her lower registers and like stays like within her range rather than kind of pushing the way she has for Show Them or for like the more recent songs off of the Unleash EP. Um, that's my preference though. But again, like with having said that, there's just certain voices that just get me. Um, so yeah, no, I do like him. I do like NEKI, and yeah, we'll see what happens to them. I do think that they're definitely on their way to bigger things for sure. Um, it falls in line again with more Japanese vocalists, more traditional Japanese vocalists, poppy J-pop, um, who do have like thinner tones, but are still fairly widely received. Like who is it? The Brilliant Green. I was just listening to a little bit right before. Um, Nishino Kana or Kana Nishino, even for her. It's sort of a thinner voice, but I like it a lot. So I don't know. Even when there's thin voices, some voices I really like, but it's really hard to say. Yeah, Brilliant Green was good stuff. So, okay, guys, I'm gonna leave it open just for a few minutes, but I don't want this live stream to go too long. I wanted to stay as focused as possible with NEKI. But whether it be any questions about the band, the music, that's all I have for now to say about them. And we'll see the next time I see them in November. And when I come back, I'll definitely have some more thoughts about them. But yeah, I'll be seeing a show tomorrow, Jungfrau. Uh, it's pretty cool. There's actually a few bands that you guys will know that are going to be there. Sirius will be there. Empress will be there for those of you who are into Zillion mode. Ash Frast. I don't know if you know her. She's pretty poppy, like pop rock. She's pretty good too. Check her out. Ash, ASH, like Pokemon or Ash, and then Frast, Frast. Um, Another band called Human Drive that I have never heard or seen, and then another artist whose name I cannot read because it's all in kanji. But it'll be a good show. It is at Shimokitazawa, which will be like 10 minutes away, which is good. So I don't have to worry too much about my foot on the way there. And yeah, after that is Friday, which is Bandmade at Spotify O East, I believe. And the other good thing about that is that it is in Shibuya, which is about a 20-minute bike ride. The only problem is that it could potentially be raining a lot because of the typhoon. The typhoon has taken its sweet old time kind of coming in. So with that, we're gonna get some pretty heavy rain on the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, potentially Sunday. So yeah, it looks like I'll have attended 6 shows on my holiday. Yeah. So, all right, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. It seems like there's no other questions for NEKI. And then yeah, for those of you who don't know, it is or it will be Miley time. Do I have her card still? It will be her birthday at 12 a.m., which is in about 16 minutes. So, Miley, she was doing a live stream. I think she probably still is. If you guys are able to, you can scan that if you want to. So if you're coming to Japan, definitely get a tour with her. Tell her that I sent you if you do go because I recommended it. But she's a very cool girl, very fun, very sweet, a lot of gratitude. She works her ass off every day. So I wish her nothing but success. So, all right, folks. I'll leave it at that. And again, anytime you have any recommendations for other bands, please comment. Please don't forget to like this video. Pass it around if you want other people to know about my thoughts on NEKI and what I think. And the next time someone says that Neki will be the next bandmate. Tell them, no, Neki will be Neki. Those are my thoughts. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna try to get my head sorted and figure things out for the rest of my life. And hopefully you will be a part of that plan. But if you are here on Friday for bandmate, I'll see you then. And then if you are here for, gosh, what's happening on Sunday? There's something Sunday, and I can't remember, but there's something. And I'll be there. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. This has been Peter from MNN. I will see you again. Keep on supporting all those bands that you love. Thank you, man. Um, maybe, maybe I'll see you. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. I'll see you later. Bye. Have a good day. Ah, Kaiju Pickles. Gotcha. Bye, guys.